How's it going, guys? It's Javi here from Mother Sponge 5000. Today is September 18th, 2018, as we're going to track the Atlantic. As of right now, and you can see that fortunately Florence has weakened to an extratropical low, and thankfully, outside of what just happened, which was Florence, there isn't really much going on in the Atlantic, which is definitely good news. We want to see this during the most active time of the hurricane season, which is right around this time. So we're seeing a very quiet Atlantic. So here we have the remnants of Florence, which is an extratropical storm at this point, and it doesn't have much hope to strengthen at all because it's going to be over land, and it's basically going to get absorbed by the westerly winds or an extratropical cyclone that's just going to be to the north of it. So that is definitely good news. It did produce some tornadoes over Virginia, but that threat seems is going to die down as the day goes on, as we have less instability to induce those thunderstorms. And then we have Tropical Depression Joyce, which isn't a storm that's going to have much hope or any type of life either, most likely due to the Saharan winds bringing that very dry desert air that's going to hinder Joyce from developing, and also it's going to develop over cooler 70-degree water, which isn't conducive enough to produce any type of thunderstorm activity for Tropical Depression Joyce. So it should die down very quickly, and I don't expect any threat to land. And then we obviously have what was known to be Tropical Storm Isaac. I think it strengthened to a hurricane. I'm pretty sure it did, but now it has a 0% chance of developing because of how unfavorable the conditions are. And I'm going to show you why right now. This is where the remnants of Isaac is, and you can see the reds are just basically hindering over this storm. And it doesn't seem to have any type of hope anytime soon for it to develop, because usually at this south of the northern hemisphere, we're talking about the Caribbean and close to the equator, the winds are usually supposed to move from east to west, and you can see that the upper level winds, I'm not sure if you can exactly see the little beige lines, but you could see that the upper level winds are basically going against the easterly winds, which is definitely going to make it difficult for any type of tropical cyclone to develop, including these patches of thunderstorm right here don't seem to have much hope due to the westerly wind, upper level winds that are basically going against the easterly winds that we would usually see during this time of the year, or most of the year, in fact, towards the equator. And it seems like this is what's happening with Isaac. We have areas of just too much strong upper level winds ahead of it. That's going to hinder this from developing anymore. And as for the future of the Atlantic, because the good news is that both of the models are predicting a fairly quiet Atlantic for the next couple of days. And we could see that the European, there's a vorticity signature. So the darker you see the reds, the more likely there's rotation, and the more likely it's a stronger low pressure system. And you do see some reds here and there, but I don't think they're associated with any type of tropical development. And I think these low pressure systems you see here are more motivated by extratropical or baroclinic instability that's going to strengthen these. So these aren't really much to worry about, especially since they're in the Atlantic. So that's definitely good news. Besides the extratropical cyclones we're going to see, there's not really anything that's really an interest in the Atlantic, as the only type of interest is up north, where obviously the westerlies and the Arctic airs is going to strengthen and increase the rotation and convection of these extratropical cyclones, since up more north the Coriolis effect is more in effect. But you could see that just in the main development region, the Caribbean, it seems like it's going to be safe for the next couple of days. The GFS model also agrees with that very well, as it doesn't seem to take any type of storm or any type of hurricane to develop over the next couple of days. And the main development region is very quiet for the GFS as well. We only see the vorticity signatures and the extratropical cyclones. So that's definitely good news. And looking at the Atlantic analysis as of right now, let me touch this. Okay, there we go, and you see that this area is mostly dominated by high pressure system. High ridges of high pressure, and the Bermuda High that was steering Florence to the Carolinas unfortunately caused a lot of devastation, especially in the places hard hit in the Carolinas. But you could see that the ridges are just dominating the Atlantic at this point. We do have two tropical waves, but the wind shear is just too strong for these to develop, and it seems like the Atlantic is going to be safe for the next couple of days, which is definitely good news. However, as for the Pacific, we do have this one disturbance that has a moderate chance of developing and a higher percent chance of developing over the next 5 days. So 60% chance of developing over the next 5 days, and you could see that it's under very humid conditions. There's a lot of rising air where it's at, but based off of the models I'm seeing, it's going to take this storm a little bit west and north. The European doesn't even take any type of storm to develop in the Eastern Pacific, while the GFS and this has nothing to do with the storm I'm tracking that has right now. That's about 9 days from now, and the European does develop a tropical cyclone, so make sure to watch that out over the next couple of days. But it seems unlikely. It's still very unlikely to develop since we're very far out. We're predicting that 9 days. But as for the GFS, this is basically the storm, and it's taking a weak storm, but it should move up north, which will basically kill it at that point, because there's no way it's gonna make it to California. I meant to say without dying due to the very cool waters over the California region. So that's definitely good news that it doesn't seem to be an imminent threat to land. And I guess that's about it for this video. I don't really have much else to talk about. It's very quiet, which is definitely good news since we're in the most active part of the Atlantic hurricane season. And looking at how quiet it is, we're definitely seeing the conditions become more favorable for development. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.